The My Forward University podcast, episode 21. Stop saying it and start showing it. We're going to talk about why knowledge workers need deliverables to prove their value. Welcome, colleagues. George Sloan with My Forward University, and this is the My Forward University podcast, where we skip the fluff and get straight to what works. I'm George Sloan, as I said, founder and dean, and today we're diving into a topic that has become a cornerstone of modern professional success. Stop saying it and start showing it. Because if you're a knowledge worker, someone who solves problems, thinks strategically, or creates value with ideas and execution, then this episode is for you. We're going to talk about why deliverables matter more than declarations, how to create them, what kinds you need in your toolkit, and how to use them to win jobs, gain trust, close deals, and do it before someone else does. So, let's get into it. Why I'm good at what I do isn't good enough anymore. Okay. So have you ever heard anyone say, hey, I'm really strategic, or I'm great with data, or, oh, I'm really a creative problem solver? Yeah, me too. We all have. The problem is, so is everyone else. Talk is cheap. So these words don't mean much unless you have proof behind them. And in today's world, as I just mentioned, talk is cheap. You need receipts. You need artifacts. You need a portfolio of value. Because whether you're trying to apply for a job, or you're pitching for a consulting gig, or freelancing, or selling your services, nobody believes what you say about yourself. They believe what they can see that you actually do or have done. I like to think of this as knowledge worker show and tell. You can sit there and say it, but it's a whole lot better when you're saying it right after you slid it across the table to them. So let's talk about, we can think of it as a credibility curve, if you will. I want you to imagine that for a second. At the bottom is where most people live. They say I'm good. In the middle is social proof. There's some testimonials or a letter of reference, LinkedIn endorsements, a testimonial, you name it, okay? But at the top, that's where the winners live. And that's where you want to be. At the top, you're not just saying I'm good. You're showing a sample, a framework, a result, a plan, an actual deliverable. Even if it's done as a hypothetical, just to sample what you can do. Sometimes you're under an NDA and you can't disclose. An NDA is non-disclosure agreement. You can't disclose or show your actual work, but you can show a representation of it. So at the top of the curve, the proof does the talking. That's the goal. So let's walk through how to get there. I'll just give you a real quick story. In fact, it could be multiple stories. Multiple times I have gotten a job, I have gotten a consulting job, or I have gotten some kind of side hustle gig where I have slid a sample of my work across the table after listening to them describe what it is they were looking for. I slide it across the table. Are you looking for something like this? And when I've done that, it's magic. You can see their faces light up, and you know that you're going to be closing the deal. Okay? All right, so let's talk about samples. We'll run through a few ideas. Let's talk about deliverable number one, sample work products. The first and most obvious one of this is samples. This could be a slide deck, a marketing audit, a mock analytics report, a research summary, a proposal, even a case study. I have used almost every one of these multiple occasions with high effectiveness, and I highly recommend you do it too. So personally, I've submitted Power BI dashboards, analytics summaries to win contracts. I've shown partial project proposals to secure gigs. These samples tell the prospect and let the prospect know, hey, here's how I think, here's what I can do, and here's the quality that you will get. There's no, real question. You're taking away a lot of their reservations and hesitations. Here's a tip. Always strip out that sensitive information or make up a fictional version. I said that before. You're not showing the data. You're showing how you handle the data. Again, many of you may be under NDAs and you can't disclose something that you physically did. Oh, excuse me, drink of water. All right, let's talk about deliverable number 2, a process walkthrough. This is something I've used very powerfully. Um, Walk them through how you would handle something. So let's say you don't have a sample that you can show. It's not a big problem. Talk them through what you do. Explain it in steps and do it something like this. First, I'd pull together the last 12 months of sales data. Then I'd normalize it by region. Then I'd look at it for anomalies using X technique. After that, I would present my findings in a dashboard using a Y tool. Whatever it might be. We're doing XYZ here. So this kind of explanation builds trust. It proves you've done it before, or at the very least, you understand the flow of getting from the problem to the solution. Here's a bonus idea. Stand up if you're in a face-to-face meeting and whiteboard it, diagram it, show the visuals. That really sticks. Okay? Very powerful technique. I'm going to be doing a concept pretty soon on my Ford, the 131 model. You identify one problem, you show 3 possible solutions, and then you make a recommendation. That's something you could do right here with what we've just described. So keep that in mind, and that one's coming up very soon. All right, deliverable number 3. I've used this one before. The 90-day plan. Sometimes people do a 100-day plan. It's pretty much the same thing. If you're interviewing for a job or pitching a project, there's nothing that makes you stand out more and faster than a custom 90-day plan. So if you're not familiar with what it is, I'm going to share with you how to do one right now. I've used this to win job offers and consulting work on more than one occasion, and here is a breakdown of how you do it. Days 1 through 30, understand the current state. Audit the process, interview stakeholders. Days 31 through 60, draft the plans, build the pilots, get early feedback. Days 61 through 90, execute, optimize, report the results. And I would add to that and talk about what the iteration and feedback loop would be to start the process again. In fact, I just was talking to someone about this the other day, and I laid out a sort of 3-week plan along these lines. So doing this shows leadership, it shows initiative, and that you already have a start in solving their problems before you've even been paid a dime. Don't tell them how, per se. Just tell them what the approach you would be taking. All right, here's a tip. Add a 1-page visual roadmap to tie it all together. Or, like before, stand up and do it on a whiteboard. Just lay it out. All right, deliverable number 4, a mini proposal. Here's a great idea. It's one that a lot of people skip and they shouldn't. If you're a freelancer, consultant, or side hustler, a 2-page proposal can really be all it takes to close the deal and turn the tables. Here's the other thing. Hint, you can actually present this to multiple people. If you take it to one guy up the street and he doesn't buy it, take it to the competitor down the street and let them buy it. Whoever you're being paid by is who will ultimately own the results of what you're doing. So it's not like you're just investing it for one. You can actually get more use out of it. I would structure it like this. The challenge, and use their language. Prove that you understand the problem. Problem definition and preparation is one of the biggest parts of anything that we do and talk about here. Number 2, the insight. Add something they haven't considered. Show perspective. Again, you don't want to give away the farm, but you want to give them enough to show that you understand the problem, you've thought about the problem, and then you get to the next step, the solution. What's your approach step by step? Again, I wouldn't go too deep into the how, but enough to show them that you can deliver the solution. Finally, the outcome. What are the expected results and what is the timeline? You're doing it like a project. Again, I'm a project manager, so to me this comes naturally. But if you're not familiar with this process, it's a simple thing you can do. You can do it in a 1-page or 2-pager. I wouldn't go crazy, but just enough to outline. And it may be the one thing where you've gone above and beyond what the other guy who might be pitching for this job or this project is pitching, and it makes a difference. You don't need to sell everything. You just need to prove you can get it, and you've got a method to solving their problem. Again, most people don't seem to understand you get paid to solve problems. Your problems may be little ones, and you don't get paid as much. If you solve a big problem, you get paid more. Think of it that way. All right. Deliverable number 5 that you can do, your personal pitch page. This is one of my favorites. I've built one-page documents multiple times that outline my work principles, the frameworks I use, the process and style that I use, and a short story about how I solve problems. Sometimes you don't even have to do this on paper. I've talked people through it, and I say to them, if this aligns with your way of wanting things done, then we should continue talking. Otherwise, maybe this isn't right for either of us. Sometimes you're going to be willing to walk away. I use this to kick off interviews or calls. I've even said to people, again, I just gave you the example. If this aligns with how you work, we should continue this conversation. That's a very powerful line to use. If what I've described to you aligns with how you work and what you're expecting out of this, then we should continue this conversation. Believe me, it works. It's worked multiple times for me. You attract the right clients and you filter out the wrong ones without wasting anyone's time. Okay, bonus idea, folks. The portfolio of proof. If you went to design school, you would come out with a portfolio, work samples. I am proposing to you to do the same thing if you're a knowledge worker. So build a portfolio of proof. Over time, you want to stack these wins into a simple, curated portfolio. Show a sample of a customer intelligence report. Show a sample of a customer profile. Show a sample of an analytical framework. Say, show a SWOT analysis. Whatever it might be. Show a sample of it. If you've done a marketing plan, show a sample of it. This doesn't need to be polished in the highest form. It doesn't need to be a fancy website. It could be a Google Drive folder with labeled files in it. You can keep it as simple as you need to, or you can make it a little fancier. The key is intention. Label each file and make a one-sentence summary. Keep it organized. Think of it like your modern transcript. Instead of grades, show real results. What can I really do? I can say what I can do, but a lot of us have found we hire people and they don't have the ability to do what they promised. You're walking into this situation saying, this is what you can get from me. If this is what you want, then we continue that conversation. Remember that line from before? I repeated it a couple times because it's powerful. All right. Give you some other creative deliverables. Let's round this out with some rapid fire ideas that will help you and you might not have considered. Do a visual framework, sketches, flowcharts, process diagrams. Do walkthrough videos. Use Loom or Zoom to walk through your thinking. Use templates and tools. Show things that you've created that others can reuse. Reverse engineer case studies. Break it down. Take a famous project and explain how you'd improve it. Again, you can always do better. There's not perfection, but there's always better. Do a mini email series. Share your insights, your frameworks, and a soft pitch over 2 to 3 emails. Do guest webinars or recorded talks where you teach, present, and lead. Each of these helps humanize your expertise and turn abstract claims into concrete value that they can see, touch, and talk about with you. All right, some final thoughts. We'll wrap this up. Proof will always beat a promise. So here's the real takeaway. In a world that's flooded with noise and hype and inflated BS resumes, deliverables are your differentiator. Anyone can put a resume and it can say all sorts of, bullshit on it, but it's a whole different story to slide across the table an actual work sample, especially if you've just been talking to them they're telling you what they want. So if you're a knowledge worker Whether you're job hunting, freelancing, or building a business, or even just climbing the corporate ladder, stop saying it and start showing it. Build samples, create tools, share your approach, talk through your method, and when in doubt, show your work. The world rewards execution, not just ambition. So go build your portfolio, create the proof, and let your deliverables speak louder than any pitch ever could. I want to thank everyone for listening to my Ford University podcast today. If it helped you, please share it with a friend or a teammate. Again, don't keep us a secret. And if you want to help build your own proof portfolio, perhaps shoot us a message, sign up for our newsletter, get more engaged, because again, we give you a lot of the tools to make these things happen at myforduniversity.com. So until next time, learn fast, apply it faster, and always deliver value, especially when you can demonstrate it. Remember, knowledge worker, show and tell. We'll see you the next time.